morning. It's Sunday. It's 7:37 a.m. Happy Father's Day, of course. Here I am in living color. It's a little bright in here. Let's turn that down. My famous FAU pullover, which I took to the dry cleaner and said, cut it up the middle, put a black zipper in there. Yeah, this is a unique item. Yeah, it's 67 degrees in here, so it's apropos. It's Happy Father's Day. It's Sunday. It's June 21. And as I keep saying, this is like, there we go. You can see the bottom bullet point there. Think of it as having several cups of coffee with Jimmy. Yeah, just imagine your favorite place to have breakfast. You know, whether it's sequela with the croissants and all that, or scrambled egg and come on, let's put something in the arteries. How about a little crispy bacon at Flakowitz or something in between. Anyway, we're live. We're in color, and we're in downtown Boca Raton. Here's our little disclaimer notice. You can pause this at your pleasure, and you got the 7 wonders of the world. Disclaimers, disclosures, warnings, notices, and cautions. Yeah. Oh, I knew it. We just had a streaming error for some reason or other. And Facebook left us 2 minutes and 50 seconds. I don't get it. YouTube hangs in there right to the end. YouTube broadcast that went 4 hours and 20 minutes. I started one day and ended the next. For all those insomniacs. I don't know what the occasion was. But, anyway, we don't give financial advice. We don't get paid to talk about the fact that this Shure SM70 microphone is the best on the planet. Yeah, we don't get any respect, much less denominations, money, free equipment. No. We pay. Yeah. But we are not financial advisors. We are not CPAs. If anything, we're cleaning, pressing, and alterations. Yeah. Constant pain in the ass. Oh, I'm sorry. That's early morning show. I had some CPA friends. You gotta keep them on their toes. Yeah. We do want to warn you though. Anytime you're on the internet, there is danger. We're actually, let's see, we look up in the upper edges of my, on my iPad here. I'll show you. There you go. See, look down here. Yeah, can you see that? Yeah, you should be able to see that. See general, right above general, it says connected. Here. Cyber Ghost. Yep. We have a virtual private network. It's just if you can do it, it's a safe thing to do. It just keeps it so that the bad guys can't exactly get to your MAC address. Every device that gets connected, and you see connected, the word connected, when someone connects with you, they connect with your MAC address. It's a hexadecimal thing. It's big. And every device has a MAC address. Every iPhone, every iPad, every Mac, every, your headphones that connects to your elbow bones. Everything that connects with something else. It has it's a little, it's almost like an electronic serial number. So as soon as, like when you connect your phone to your bank account, it verifies who you are, it sends you, a 6-digit secret code number, and it texts it to you, and then you open up another, the page at the bank, and they want that 6-digit number. You throw that 6-digit number up there, and it says, do you want to remember this device? Do you want us to remember this device? The answer is yes. So you don't have to go through this, over and over and over again. So it remembers your MAC address.
7:45.
If you were to change your phone, get a new phone, and you load the same app, the same bank, it's going to say, whoops, who are you? And it says that because your new phone has a different MAC address. MAC, MAC address. But you didn't know that, huh? Yeah, it's like a little, there's a little EEPROM chip. It's an electronically programmable read-only memory, and it has a unique number for every device that connects, that is capable of connecting. Now, if I recommend, forget if, I recommend every time that you buy an iPad, now this is not, we don't give recommendations, we give suggestions. This is a buying suggestion. If you buy an iPad, make it cellular connectable. So that way, this is an opinion for your educational sole use. It's probably like number 6 or 7 on that list of cautions. Let's say you're out in an airport. People travel, these big terminals. A lot of times they have, as a convenience, a Wi-Fi situation. And people can, connect up into the Wi-Fi while you're in the airport. And that way you can, when you're on Facebook and you're looking, your pictures and your photo albums and people are sending you stuff and this and that, you can use the Wi-Fi that the airport provides. The risky part of that is, you might have some bad guys in that airport. And they connect to through the same hub and terminals that you're connected to. They can get in your device if they feel like it. These people, have amazing capabilities. So you don't want to be the wrong person, the wrong person at the right time, and all of a sudden, you get violated. So, reason for that preamble is if your iPad has a cellular connectivity, which costs you an extra $130, by the way, on your device. So if your iPad was $1,000, now it's $1,130 plus tax, sales tax, that is. But the beautiful thing about that is, when the airport thing pops up and says you want to join a network, you say no, thank you. And conversely, you can connect now anywhere you want with your own data line. Let's see, general, about. Look at that. Cellular data number 561-416-1100. We know that number. Yeah. So that way your signal goes right through the cellular system, which is, 256-bit encrypted, yabba yabba yabba. It's safe. It's I hate to use that four-letter word. Yeah, it's this is an opinion, my personal opinion. It's about as safe as you can do. I mean, we transmit billions, trillions of dollars every day. All of us do, on our phones. Oh yeah, change. Give number 3 son $100. You transfer $100 from your bank account from here to there. Yeah, we do it on our cell system, on your phones all the time, every day. Parents handing out money to their kids, transmitting it, from here to Kentucky or wherever, and all of a sudden the kid's got a $100 bill, got $100 in cash in his account, and then he can access it and he can go buy stuff at the airport because it's Father's Day, and you're going to go visit and they need a little something to give old grandpa. Yeah, hey, yeah. So if your cell phone obviously already has those chips in there, and it connects to it has connectivity to, in my case, the AT&T system. My phone is an AT&T compatible device. They were like the first. Because Steve Jobs made a deal with AT&T when he came out with his very first iPhone. 2010 or whatever it was. Hey Siri, what was the date of the first iPhone? Generation. Let's take a peek at Wikipedia here. I have all kinds of devices here. See which one comes up first. This guy came up first. Oh, sorry. June 29th, 2007, according to Wikipedia. Yep. June 29th, yeah, at the end of the month. I wanted to get that out. They announced it January 9th, 2007, for delivery in June 29th. So it was like a 6-month. Number of units sold 6,124,000. That was like, oh God. I sure hope we can sell 100,000 of these things. They sold 6 million of them. Yeah, I mean, it's, it's nerve-wracking. And you don't have deep pockets. All you could do is get a big pile of bills on your desk. If someone does. You got 16 people in your company, or whatever it is. Come up with 30 or 100 employees. Yeah. 20,000 square feet of office space and warehouse space. Coming up with your first iPhone, yeah. And it was the magical combination of something that could connect to the internet, something that could play your music. That was a big deal because that's all they had. They had these iPod things, which I hated. With these little circular things, those cockamamie. You got to move your finger this way and that way, and I could never figure out which way you had to go. Anyway. But when they came out with the iPhone, that was unbelievable. I had, I was one of these guys that worked in a bank. I was a somewhat senior officer in a bank. Some people looked up at me. Some people looked down on me. Most people looked down on me. Who is this masked man? I used to make loans on buildings and build. I was mostly a construction lender. Some guy wants to build a building here. He's got tenants. He's got here's a blueprints. This is our cost breakdown. This is the general contractor. Financial statement of the guarantors. Yeah, you go through all this, 2 inches worth of paper, and then you in the quiet of your room, all by yourself, you just sit down and say, now this guy's going to build this building, and this is the list of his tenants. This is really going to be deliverable into the marketplace. If the answer is yes, I guess we'll do it. If the answer is no, we'll have to let's see, who might do this deal instead of me. So if I didn't want to do a deal, I really put my thinking cap on to see if I could think of someone else that might want to do it. So that way it was a no. But here, I know this guy. Go take it to Jim McGarry over there in Tampa. If it was a Tampa deal. Yeah, that's how I'd tell people no. No, but they really appreciated it. Actually, the borrower said, number one, because I gave him fast answer. I'd give the borrower answer something like this at lunch. We'd have a lunch appointment, so he'd bring us a folder with all the stuff in it that he's basically handing over at lunch. So he gives me this folder, an inch thick. So I said, well, go ahead and tell me all about this deal. Well, I paid through this stuff. I'm paying attention to you, but I'm multi-processing. So he'd be talking about it, or she'd be talking about it, or they'd be telling me all about their deal, and I'd be looking at them and looking down at some of the papers, and I'm trying to find the papers I want to see. And then I, close the folder and then listen. We order lunch. I'd say, hey Don, this isn't our cup of tea. This, how about that for an expression? Back into the 1900s. Yeah, this isn't our cup of tea. But I know someone that'll do this deal. Maybe. Yeah. They make their own decisions, obviously, but why don't you give this a shot? Over here. And that's how I do it, or I take the deal. I'd say, you know what, this is something I think we can do. You know, I know what we can do. That's that was one of the magical things about Timmy, yours truly. My borrowers used to tell me. They really appreciated the fact that I had the capacity and the intuition to know what the bank will approve and won't approve. Now, as a senior lending guy, but you know, there was a day when I was just a lending guy, not the senior lending guy. And if you're just a lending guy, you gotta imagine yourself being in that committee, and with the papers that you know here, and everything proves out. Yeah, we're going to assume that part. But you have to. You don't want to take deals that you don't think get approved, because you're not in the business of collecting paper and wasting borrowers' time. Time is so valuable when you're a developer, because you throw out a couple $100,000 on a couple $1 million property, which is not at risk. It's just an earnest money deposit that's refundable.
It's 8 o'clock.
For any reason, up until a certain date. And then when that date hits, you either withdraw your offer and get your money back the day before that date. But when that day hits, whoosh, the money goes hard. Expression in the development business. When the money is hard on a contract, that means that $200,000 now is at risk. Meaning the seller of the property has your $200K. That's a dollar sign in front of that $200K, meaning 1,000. So instead of 200,000, you say 200K. Sounds like you're ordering, calories of a dish. No. Yeah, when the money goes hard, we know what that means. That means it's hard to get it back. Very hard. Yeah, it means you gotta have a pretty good lawyer to figure out how you're gonna get that money back after that date happens. Because up until that date, you're convincing the land seller that you're a genius and you got this deal and you know everything about what the heck's going on here. And then, when the money goes hard, all of a sudden your lawyer walks in and says, hey, you know what, he's a stoop. He don't know what he's doing. Well, he's facing the judge trying to get his money back for his client. Yeah, he turned from a genius to an idiot. That would be the arguments, but anyway. Anyway, so my secret weapon in the banking business is I knew what would get approved. I pretended I was one of those gray old men sitting around the committees and, passing judgment on my deals. Never got turned down. Nope. I turned down. I had one senior guy that I worked for. I was less of a senior guy. He was more of a senior guy. I forget the titles, but exactly. I'll use his first name, Bart. Yeah. Bart told me, in certain terms, he says, don't you turn down a deal. Any deal you get, you bring in here, package it up, and send it into credit. You let them turn it down. I said, but Bart, I'm the first line of defense. I've met the client. I've visited the property. I'm using my best judgment to protect the bank so that it doesn't make a loan that is, that it shouldn't make. People in the credit department, they don't go out and inspect the property and walk and they don't meet the clients. They just get a pile of paper. They multiply and divide, I mean, they're no disrespect. No disrespect. Oh boy. Yeah. Bart said, bring them all in. I said, I'm not doing it. I'm sorry. Go ahead and fire me for using my best judgment. I don't care. I'm not going to waste, Bill's time in there. Senior credit Bill, with his 4 millions in there. I'm not going to have them tear this thing apart and do the multiplying and dividing and certification and everything that they do on a deal that I know is El Stinko. So that's the kind of people you want to hanging around here and fine. And you know what? I resigned right there. I wanted to go do it. He's a nice gentleman. Knew his family, knew his kids play with my kids, in the same community. I mean, really. Bart, I'm not going to use any last names. He's not even in the area anymore. A long time ago. 25 years ago. Yep. You just bring the deals in and we'll turn them down. You just keep pumping them up. He just wanted to have numbers. He wanted to show the people in the main office up there in Jacksonville that his office was really getting his hands on a lot of business, even if it was crappy business. Yeah, you let the credit people turn these deals down. I'll tell you what, I bet he made a lot of bad loans. It's terrible. You want to train your lenders. This is my personal opinion. I used to be a senior lending officer. Phil Motter and I owned a commercial bank, along with several hundred of our best friends. But Phil and I own 34% of a state chartered commercial bank in Florida. That's a big chunk of a commercial bank when each of us has 17.5% of the bank. Phil said, Jimmy, you equalize our shares so we have the exact same number of shares. He said, you know what, I got a lot more than I bargained for. You were an outstanding business partner. I want us to be equal partners. That's what he says. He said, so the company's going to sell you par value shares so that it was like tenth of a penny par or something. So that you have the exact same share count that I have. Do that today. Stood up, shook his hand, and said, "Phil, that's really, it's really not necessary. I'm very happy the way things are." He said, "No, I want us to be equal partners." I thought about it for a while, talked it over with my wife, and I went, you're just, you're so much more than I ever imagined. From what people recommended, people that we jointly know is how we came together. Now that I've worked with you for 6 or 8 months, we've got to be equal partners, period. So, I thank you very much. Got my checkbook out and wrote a check for, $1,700, whatever it was, to buy you know, 1 million shares or something. I don't know what the numbers were, but we had the same exact share count. Oh my God. Had to make submission to the state of Florida, you know, the regulatory body. They had to approve. We didn't own a bank yet, but we had a bank application. So I had to, maybe it was before the application was submitted. We got equalized on our share count. But the two of us owned 35% of the state charter commercial bank. Yeah, and one branch, you know, in Sheridan Street, magnificent looking building. Good people inside. The president of the bank was really outstanding. And, we appealed to him on several occasions. We're not going to push you out when we buy the bank. We had to, we caused the bank to issue shares to us, which diluted the ownership of the bank, you know, to like 4%. We ended up not owning 96% of the state charter commercial bank. And squeezed the original shareholders down to like 3.5%, 4%, 2%. So we didn't buy their shares, we just added a bunch of shares and diluted them. They basically didn't run the bank properly. So the state of Florida said, hey, why don't you guys take a look at this one? We actually went to, not me, but Jerry Raines Dolan, our regulatory affairs consultant, senior extraordinary person at Deloitte & Touche, former director of banking, state of Florida. Jerry Dolan, nice lady. So she went to the state of Florida and said, hey, you got some banks down here in South Florida that might need a little, you know, some new management ability, a new capital, you know, because they're going to fail, in your opinion, maybe. And she came up with a couple of banks and said, hey, why don't you take a look at this one? That's what I did. Phil knew everybody with money, and I knew how to do the part I'm talking about. Because I was on the merger and acquisition team at Royal Trust Bank. How much fun was that? It was really, I mean, you talk about a resume builder. Holy crap. You know, it's a $35 billion bank. And there were, you know, 6 of us down here in Florida, buying banks in the state of Florida. Yeah. Jerry Gilliam, the man. The other Jerry Raines Dolan, she was a lady. Anyway, Jerry Gilliam, he was like the head guy in the United States for Royal Trust Bank. It was a global banking institution. But Jerry, yeah, he was the head guy for United States of America, based in Florida. His office was in Jacksonville. Our offices were in Miami. But he had an office in Jacksonville and Miami. You know, spent most of his time in Miami. You know, his home, his family lived up there, so yeah, he'd go home on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and come back to Miami on Monday. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday was a travel day for him, you know. So he'd go back and forth and back and forth. Mm-hmm. Anyway, look at this Look at this display I got here on my thing here. Scotty no. Scotty Scheffler is... He can make some unbelievable shots. Yep, that's what, if you're going to win, you have to make unbelievable shots. Now, Wyndham Clark, these guys don't tee off until 2:30 this afternoon. So there's a lot of golfing already that's underway. Let's go to ESPN. This is... Look at all these people cut. Ooh, cut. JJ Spawn, the guy who won it last year, cut. He had a 71 and a 77. His Thursday, Friday score was 148. Well, the cut line was +4. All these people were over +4. Oh, jeez. Whew. This course must be one hell of a course. Oh my lordy. So this is, let's hit total. I'll sort by total. There you can see so everything above this line on, you see that the following players failed to make the cut at +4. So that's like +5 and more. Man, unbelievable. A lot of real good names. They're not playing today. I guess 72 players. Anyway, they started teeing off at 8:07. It's 8:15. So some of these guys have finished a hole already. So the interesting thing about this golf, yesterday afternoon the wind was blowing, and oh my God, you could see their pants were wobbling like this while they're trying to make a putt. The wind is blowing through their legs. I mean, it's tough to putt when the wind's blowing like that because it'll push the ball too. So depending on the angle of the green and which way the winds are blowing on the green, and I mean you're trying to make a putt. You're lucky if you can make the putt with no wind, much less if you got a bunch of wind. So, U.S. Open, Wyndham Clark, favored to win the U.S. Open. Yeah, he's got a 6. Yeah, he's got a 6-stroke, advantage going into today. It's hard to lose the match, but if one guy gets a bogey, another guy gets a birdie, a 6-stroke lead all of a sudden turns out to be a 4-stroke lead. If that happens 3 times, you have one bad shot and you end up with a bogey or a double bogey, and the other guy gets a birdie. What looked like a winning situation turns out to be a dangerous situation for a player. So then he starts getting a little nervous and he starts missing shots. Scotty starts feeling energized and he starts making unbelievable shots. And all of a sudden, they're tied. Or, one exceeds the other. Or, you know, they play about the same as they have been playing, in which case Wyndham Clark is a likely winner. Yeah, so here's the course stats. The average par 4 hole, the average par 4 hole is 390. Let's see, this is the first hole. I figured I had to read this chart. You know, not exactly glued to these charts every day. Yeah, so this goes through the 18 holes, as you can see there, 1 through 18. Whoops, as you cannot see. Yeah, squeeze that up a little bit, yeah. This is not real time, this is off real time. So it goes through all 18 holes and makes mention of, you know, how many, the average, so on hole number 5 is a par 5, 592 yards. The average score was 4.6. There were 173 birdies, 169 pars, 25 bogeys, 4 double bogeys, and 2 triple bogeys, maybe, or worse. They say other. Yep, fell in the pond. Let's see, so the fourth hole must be a tough one. The average score is 4.35 on a par 4. No eagles. 31 birdies, 207 pars, 126 bogeys. Yeah, the 7th hole, 115 bogeys. The 10th hole, 114 bogeys. The 16th hole, the 15th hole, let's do that, yeah. So, hole number 2, 4, 7, 10, 15 had the highest number of bogeys. So I sorted it by bogeys. And hole number 5 was, looks like it was scored out the easiest hole on the course. Only had 25 bogeys. And hole number 2 had 130 bogeys. That was a hard one, yeah, let's see. A 252-yard par 3, yeah, that's the reason for that. That's, 252 yards. So you're hitting an iron. It doesn't have a convex face. It's a flat face. So you gotta strike that ball right smack in the middle of that face. With the exact, pivotal timing in your swing. So you're not gonna put some goofy spin on it one way or the other. You're gonna hit that just bam, this flat face right to the pin. You gotta move yourself around just a little tiny bit to accommodate for wind factor. Yeah. Kind of amazing. A driver has a little bit of a convex face, which means it bulges out a little bit. So if your swing timing is just a little tiny bit off, it'll still Go straight. That's all I know about golf. And so Shepard's going to be climbing up his back starting at 2:30 this afternoon. That's the final grouping. Shepard is in the final grouping. So Shepard Clark. Tigala is right behind there, as is T. Kim retirement. I think. Tom Kim. I don't know what his nationality is. I shouldn't say, if you don't know. South Korea. Sorry. Seoul, South Korea. The flag design there, it's so many. Let's see if I can touch it. It doesn't produce anything. 6 foot tall. Turned pro 2018. Seoul, South Korea. Birth date is today. June 21, 2002. He's 24 years old. Yeah. Today is his birthday. June 21. Today is June 21. I had to look over my calendar. I said, that day sounds familiar. Yeah, today's his birthday. Wow. Yeah. As crazy as that. Birthplace, Seoul, South Korea. Just all the tournaments he's played. From the looks of this is tournaments. Oh, this is just this year. I played a lot of. Let's hit position. And we'll sort that. Yeah. You know, there's so much precision in the data. So according to this year, the best he's done is he's tied for second right now in this tournament. Tied for 6, tied 54. Tied, yeah. You see his earnings. Our son Daniel is quite a golfer. It's kind of been fun to try. Oh gosh. He was like 8 years old. I showed him how to swing a golf club. Wham! Hits it 150 yards. The kid's a ball striker. Now he's 6'4" and can play a hell of a game of golf. You know, for a weekend golfer. All right. Getting back to reality. I use pictures to remind me of things that I want to talk about. The weather situation, that's something to talk about. Look at this. You can barely see. This is like the state of Florida. There's Jacksonville. There's a little blue dot. We're right there. You know, Miami has all kinds of warnings and stuff. Lightning is all over the place. It's an expanded view of our. You can see the. When they draw a box around you, you know you're. you better get off the golf course. Yeah. Don't stand. Do not stand under a tree. If you ever want to get hit by lightning, that's a good place to be. Yeah, Rubbermaid makes these containers. And I make a lot of pasta. I bought these containers to store my, what do you call it, your dog food? Farmer's dog. Costs about $150 a month to feed your dog. You know, $5 a day. But, you know, the dog is 6 months old, so I started this about a month ago.
It's 8:30.
When he was 5 months old, because yeah, he's eating his dry food, you know, he's crunching his crowd. And I said, you know what, Marilyn, you know, during the development stages of this dog, yeah, you need to give him food that's not all burnt and dried out. And, you know, it's ground up, you know, chicken, and they have an ingredients list. You can have chicken, beef, you know, different kinds of protein. And, you know, it's food, and potatoes and rice, you know, it's cooked, and it's, you know, they add the right supplements in it, flavors, and, yeah. I just fed Honey her breakfast. I mix it with some pasta. I have fettuccine made currently, so it'd be like a, you know, a small little, and you know, like 2 fettuccine noodles. And I cut them up into a bunch of little small pieces and just mix it with her food that Farmer's dog prepares. Mix it really well. I stuff it in one of these little containers, put it in the microwave for 14 seconds. Just 14 seconds. One ping only. 14 seconds. The microwave brings it up from, you know, the 37-degree temperature in the refrigerator, brings it up to like 80. So it's, you know, lukewarm. The aroma, the smell is better, you know. You know, you're trying to make it appetizing for the dog. So instead of eating cold, she eats $1. You know, 100 degrees with the 14 seconds. I divide her daily portions into 3 equal portions. Morning, noon, night. Morning is like 7 a.m. Then it'd be like 1 p.m. and 7 p.m. Something like that. And she eats it up, you know, I mean, the bowls, there's not a single crumb of anything. The stainless steel bowls look like the day I bought them. She takes her time eating it, I got to keep the cats away or they'll eat it. Cats love it, so that's a good sign because cats are really picky. Dogs, they'll inhale anything, So, dog eats comfortably. Anyway, these sealed containers, I have them, let's see, I think 6 of them in the freezer with 2 months food supply at least. And they have these clips, they're airtight. I'm not recommending it. Anyway, so the next time I make pasta, I have 2 more of these things coming tomorrow. So when I make my next batch of pasta, which will probably be, maybe thin spaghetti, make up some fresh tomato sauce, I'm going to put, so when I make the pasta and al dente, maybe just be regular spaghetti. Or maybe these squiggly noodles. Instead of putting it in a whole bunch of little containers, a batch of pasta will fit in these 2 containers. You just pick out, it gets refrigerated, goes in the refrigerator, and then you open up one of the containers and you take whatever amount of pasta you need for your dish. That evening if you want to have pasta. Once a week I make up a batch of al dente pasta. So because of the way I'm storing Foreman's dog, I got an extra pair of these. They cost like 10 or 11 bucks a piece, so it's not something you throw away. You put them in the dishwasher, wash them up, or hand wash them, whatever. And you keep reusing them, And they're clear, so you can see what's going on inside. So that's a little kitchen item that I'd share with you. Here is the official number. It's a 9.6 cup or 2.1 liter. Anyway, that's what Rubbermaid, the identifying. It's manufactured April 10th, 2026. Their product number CL1085. This box is 2 of them in one package. That's the end, a shot at the end of the box, which I just saved in case I needed the barcode to go, in case Amazon.com stopped offering that particular device. I could go shop it somewhere else. From a video display standpoint, whoops, I need to get this, shrink this down so you can see everything. There we go. Not recommending anybody go gamble, that's for sure. Particularly on something that has a winning odds is 290 million against you winning. That's not a good sign. Yeah, that's what you. Yeah, that's really the truth. 290. There we go. Now you can see the entire. Oh yeah, we can make that a little bit larger. There you go. Small. It's small enough. So the bottom row is the roll over where we are right now. So I'm going to magic of I guess television or electronic distribution of information. I put this spreadsheet together as just as a project of how to display, different kinds of numbers. These, the ones, see right here, right in the middle of your screen there, 1, 5, 49, 51, 7. Yeah. That was the winning numbers back Tuesday, May 26th. This is I just picked one of these lotteries, just so there was a routine created, by the lottery system itself. So twice a week, Powerball is 3 times a week. I didn't want to do that. I mean, Powerball has a known name. But Mega Millions I really never heard of before, so they do twice a week. Tuesday, Friday, Tuesday, Friday, Tuesday, Friday. So I figured, all right, well, twice a week is not. I was hoping for a once a week thing, so so Tuesday, Friday seem to be. That's why you see Tuesday, Friday, going down the list. And the 16th draw, the 17th draw, see how 18, 19, 20, and this keeps going right down to Tuesday. The Tuesday that hasn't happened yet. Yep, Tuesday, June 23rd. So in 2 more days, this is Sunday. See, it's a rollover. That's what the rollover means. That no one won the 27th attempt. That's what that 27 is. So on the 27th drawing, I count them. See, there's 23, 24, 25, 25. We can go all the way. We go back to 13 on this print screen. I figured that's far enough. Here goes to 1. It's up to 467 million. Can you imagine? I mean, the chance of winning that are like slim and none, or none and none squared. 290 million odds against you. 290. It's over 290 million to 1 shot. That's like getting hit by lightning. I think you're more likely to be hit by lightning. I think the winning odds for getting hit by lightning is like 700,000 to 1. 700,000. This is 290 million against you winning. That's one of the reasons why we're on the 18th drawing, because they take these balls from 1 to 70, and that's the white circles, and they look like ping pong balls, so they have circles with numbers in the middle. This is actually a print screen of what happened on June 19th, which is 2 days ago. So I did a print screen on the iPad, and then I cut out everything, all the information that was on the page except for these numbers. And so it's a skinny strip. If we go to my photo, this is my photo album. See, here's the skinny strip. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 numbers on the Powerball. So what I learned in doing this whole spreadsheet business is that, in that position, let's go back to here. There we go. So looking at this just cut that strip out and popped it in there. Now, before, months and months and months before, I used to just type the numbers. And I said, that looks kind of boring. And, the fonts are proportional fonts. So, you got wide ones and skinny ones, when I figured, it's a lot of typing. And not only that, I might, dyslexic type 35 instead of 53, so there'd be some wrong numbers in there, maybe. Not that they're being used for anything, but, if you're going to be doing something, you might as well do it right. So I learned that in that spreadsheet, in that wide column, and go to the top of you see there's the column, you can see a barrier, you see a line going down, to the left of number 16 there, and to the right of the Powerball, number 24. And it says winning numbers, so that whole column had a certain width to permit, typing 34, comma, 56, comma, whatever. And I figured that's a more attractive presentation. And the yellow ball, so the ball is yellow. And here I didn't quite do the brightness and contrast exactly the same as what happened, 4 or 5 weeks later. Remember, there are 2 drawings per week. Tuesday and Friday, at 11 p.m. Yeah. So I don't have a particular consistency on the color of the yellow. If I don't add enough brightness, the white area surrounding number 13, for example, and 16 and 21, on the outside of the black line, looks like it's shaded. So if I increase the brightness enough, then you don't see any shading. You might see a little, you see like this number 26, little places where it looks like it's smudged or washed out a little bit. So it's a balancing act on how much brightness and contrast, but at least I'm not typing, because I'm afraid of doing a typo. And, you got people out there in TV land look at this. So that should always be the same color yellow, but it's not, obviously. Just up here on the top, I apply a little different amount of energy into the spreadsheet itself. Anyway, so it's a rollover. So Tuesday is the next drawing, June 23rd. June 19th was 2 days ago. $452 million, no one won it. It skips up 15 million to this week. So I keep rolling them all over. That would be the pre-tax. Is 211. So we can go to the top of the column here. Jackpot lump sum payout before all Fed taxes. NPV, the net present value of the future cash flows, is estimated to be, you add it all up, to $211,000. So I put the green dot down there, just to bring you right down to the bottom of the list, So I'm told that'd be the number if you won this. the likelihood of this is like slim and none and zero and so forth. But we're in pretend land now. So we're pretending. So what would be the estimated lump sum of 211,290,000? This is the elapsed time. This is the jackpot lump sum. So if someone were to win this, eventually someone's going to win something. You know, the last one was a quick rollover. Yeah, of course. Yeah. We had a couple of cups of coffee together. It's Father's Day. Go back to your family. Wake them up. They're probably still sleeping. Everybody's sleeping around here. I got my little puppy dog back here. He's sleeping on his little bed down here. Both cats are sleeping, napping, whatever. The only one that's not napping is you. You're talking to him. But here's another little technique. So I grayed out. So instead of having all these black and white numbers all over here, I just changed the font, the color of the font, to, you know, the third or fourth level. A whole bunch of different colors that you can make it from very faint gray to solid black. So this is like on the fourth step from, you know, white numbers on the white background. Then you couldn't see anything. I wanted to show that there's numbers there, but I don't want you to pay attention to any of those numbers. Draw as you ride right down to the bottom there. So you have a $467 million. The lump sum's going to be like $211 million. And of course, the long arm of the federal government is going to grab their 24% withholding tax. So if you were to won $211 million, you're certainly in the top tax bracket of 37%. And you would instantly not have a whole bunch of things to offset, you know. So they have the withholding. And then you have to go see if you can claw any of that back next time you file a tax return. If you own property or something that needs that all or part of that refund for the taxes that have accrued. Anyway, so that, but 160, 580,000, that's after the 24%. That's net of that first 24%. That actually, you call your branch manager up and say, oh, by the way, branch manager, hello, I'm going to be putting $160 million in my account tonight through Twitter. Yeah. 160 would go in. You call TD Bank and say, oh, by the way, I was a fortunate winner of a particular gambling. So I'm wiring in, or the lottery people are going to wire in 160 million into my account tomorrow. Just didn't want you to think it's all a big typo. It won't be a typo. It'll be real money. Bam! Right in your account there. And then in April, when you're doing your taxes, you're going to owe Uncle Sam another 27 million. So you better have that in a safe bucket. Because that's, yeah. Big chest capacity. Rather nice long legs for a dog this size. You get up, Mama and Papa were 14 and 16 pounds. 14 pounds for one of them and 16 pounds for the, I'm going to say, the birthing one. All right, sports fans. I've seen enough of that. There it is. Yeah. I think this is a bunch of hooey. I think Mr. Trump has just met his, well, I was going to say met his match. That's not really true. What he's not used to is that these guys don't care if they lose. They go to heaven and get 70 virgins or whatever the crap is. Iran's already playing games with the peace deal. There's no peace deal. They're still setting their missiles and blowing the crap up. This is New York Post cover page. Yeah. Every day they have a cover page. I look at them, and if they're something newsy on the front there, then yeah, interesting to look at the cover. Made in the USA. America clinches a spot in the World Cup knockouts. Yeah, they're doing well. I told you about the Rubbermaid business. Yeah, there's the cat is he's drinking some mushroom juice there, and he's watching our Cavalier King Charles finish up his, what time of day was this? Is that knowable? Wednesday, there we go, right at the very top. It's 7:56 a.m. Yeah. And he's done. She's done, sorry. And then the cat's now taking a, see if he can get a little bite of anything. Didn't happen. These two ladies was napping on the beach and got washed out to shore and died, drowned. It was swept out to sea. See, that's why I put that out. Swept out to sea while napping on the beach. No foul play. They just fell asleep and whoosh, the water took them out. By the time they woke up, they were, in some severe undertow or whatever. And they're doggone, yeah. Gmail. That's a symbol that could remind you to go get your mail. U.S. Army has a missile, looks something like this.
It's 9 o'clock.
It's 9 o'clock. My computer just told me it's 9 o'clock. I've been yakking in here an hour and 22 minutes. I had enough. How about you? Yeah, G7 is over. So listen, everybody, happy Father's Day. Don't forget our disclaimers, disclosures, warnings, notices, and cautions. A little swoopy arrow there to draw your attention to the fact that not to forget the warnings, notices, and cautions. Yeah, oh boy. I'm not poking fun at these things. These are important things. Everybody has to understand that this information is for personal digestion. Yeah. Look at number 7 there. The producers, developers, authors warning notices that the audio, the video, the presentations, statistics, and data displayed, and as I've discussed, are for your sole personal use and for your educational purposes only. Content may be streamed over the live internet through YouTube with my handle FAU for you. Simulcast stream with Facebook. Same handle, FAU for you. I had the same FAU for you with Twitter. It's locked up. They said I did something so wrong. They just shut it down, dude. And they won't tell me what or how to fix it or whatever. So my FAU for you handle on Twitter is just jammed up in administrative, whatever they think I did wrong. So they don't really have it. I don't know. I can't figure out how to get it back. So I got some other stupid handle, like Jim W5, I don't remember what it is. So I don't even try to put it on Twitter. I have an account with X. They changed their name to X. It's a paid up, which it could be live streamed to, but I can't figure out how to get it to get into Twitter. All right, sports fans. This is how I started. This is how I'm ending. We're still Happy Father's Day. Yeah. On this look at this, 610th episode. Can you believe it? There's 509 other episodes. Yeah, one at a time. Keeps going on. It's all, it's over, a decade period of time. Unless I'm sick or something or other, it's like, twice, 2, 3, 4, 5 times a week. Yeah. With that, I wish you a great Happy Father's Day. Bye-bye.